And our presentation is titled Imposter Detection with Watchman. And our presenter is Matthew Wollenweber. So with that, I give you Matthew.
Is it not presented? Sorry for that. Thank you. So this is imposter detection with Watchman. Just go through the agenda real quick. We're going to start with who I am. What is imposter detection? Why do we care about it? Go over briefly why doesn't those. You can hear me? Briefly go over does this already exist? Because there's lots of products in this space. Go over how it works. Go over this specific tool. First, who am I? My name is Matt Wollenweber. I mostly do security operations kind of stuff, incident response, currently at Exonius, but this is a personal project. Can you turn this up? Or? All right, so first, what are imposter domains? Here are some examples and a brief description. An imposter domain is basically something that's deceptive. It's often used for fraud, for BEC. Here are a couple that actually are recent hits. Sometimes these are benign, sometimes they're branding, sometimes they're shadow IT, but often they'll be used in phishing or BEC attacks. Hopefully everyone's seen some of these before, or things like this. Why do we care? Basically because it's used in phishing. So here's a quick phishing example. This is one of the domains that I detected that has the Insomniac string in it. It's probably used for phishing because they registered www.insomniac, and it's pretty easy to make a phishing attack out of this. Even more common is business email compromise. So fake invoices. These seem, they seem stupid, but they actually happen all the time. The work money goes out. I've seen millions of dollars lost in these things. This is an example using the domain that I saw infringing Insomniac. It's insomniac.dev. Somebody registers that domain. They set up email. It passes DKIM and SPF because it is a legitimate domain. They send something like this, and somebody, when they're in accounts payable or whatever, they just don't notice this. It's actually hard to detect. There's often extra domains. My personal domain is insomniac.tech. I also have .technology. A lot of other businesses will have like their federal system. So Exonius has Exonius Fed. There's also like partner programs. So you'll have like whatever your company name is, dash partner, or some of them will set something up for marketing or for a conference. So these things exist, and people in accounts payable, people that are doing the business side of things, they're just used to seeing that, and they fall for these scams. So basically, we want to detect when these happen. They're not all bad, but we want to know about them. And we care because, basically the kill chain on this. So we can see it when there's registration. In the live attacks, they often wait 30 days. Most firewalls will block newly registered domains, which is usually for 30 days. And then after that, you can monitor them for things that are usually indicative of an attack coming. One of the big ones is setting up an MX record. When the domain's registered, it might sit there for, 30 days, a year, whatever. But the attack's going to come out basically when they turn on email. Similar to that, if they put up a website, you want to monitor that just to see if it's there. It's actually helpful in case they start forwarding to your website, or if they put up your brand stuff, they can help with the takedown. And then that's the parts that we can monitor. What they do is they send the spoofed emails or links, and they profit by taking your money. Aren't there a lot of services that already do this? There are a lot. I've probably used most of them. The reason this exists is basically getting pissed off from the service failing and having to handle incidents, and money went out for these kinds of attacks. Typically, we'd see the alerts from like these paid services 3 or 4 days after we saw attacks, often 3 weeks after the domain was registered. I never really understood why that was. So basically, Watchman, all of this is me going through like, is there something in the technology? Is there something in how this is done that it has to be that slow? It turns out there's not. The other component is it's about 10 grand a year to monitor for a specific brand. And the other part of that is usually it's not your brand that's going to be used to attack you. It's one of your vendors, it's one of your clients, it's something like that. So who you want to monitor is often not yourself. Okay, how domain monitoring works. This is basically DNS. So DNS in one slide, what could go wrong? Just briefly, DNS is what translates IP addresses into something you can recognize. There are registers like GoDaddy, Cloudflare. TLD is the top level domain, so .com, .tech. The important thing is ICANN. That's where we get most of the data for this, where Watchman gets most of its data. ICANN is kind of like the United Nations for domains. They organize how it mostly works. And the cool thing is ICANN CZDZ, it's terrible to say, but ICANN, you can register, you can get a free account, you can request access to the different zones. So if you haven't seen it, you can go to the URL that's there, or just Google ICANN, and you can sign up to get access to the root zone files. You have to have a reason, saying that you're doing brand monitoring or phishing detection is usually sufficient. There are thousands of them. They also like to play games with like expiring it or like adding hurdles, especially like the shady newer TLDs. So you have to kind of go through and set this up, basically make the request. The screenshot of some of mine. Some of them are fast. COM I think takes, I don't know, a few weeks usually, and most domains are in COM. Like COM is so much bigger than any other TLD. It's the primary one that you really need to care about. So if you haven't, and you're interested in doing this kind of stuff, go to ICANN, just start this process so that you can get access to the raw data. Now what ICANN provides is zone files. That's the root zone. It basically provides the name servers for any domain that's registered. This is the format of it, but the cool thing is that we don't really care. We just need the domain name, so you can just rip all of this into like a list of strings. So that's the format, that's sort of the details. This is what ICANN provides you, but for the purposes of domain monitoring, you just rip out the domain.tld. All right. The naive solution for how like domain monitoring works. Basically, you get all the zone files from ICANN. You process them, you get each unique one, and you look up, is it already in your database? If it's not, then it's a new domain. And then from there, you can run a search on it. Usually that's a regex, substring, something like that. And then you alert. And finally, you update your database. It's the basic process. This actually is super slow. I think COM has like 200 million in it. Just so trying to do all those inserts is super slow. You can't batch them because the batch will fail. And then you have to figure out which one it is. So it works. It just takes about a week to load every time. So Watchman is the tool that I made to do this. What is it? It's on hosted on GitHub. It's cool because it's free and it's kind of fast. I can run imposter detection on my 2020 laptop. The biggest constraint is that you have to, it has to have memory to be able to sort basically COM in memory to be able to make it fast enough to process. So it needs a few gigs. Mine I think has 32. I think 16 would probably work. What's it do? So it ingests every zone file from ICANN. It runs searches on them. The ones that I support right now are substring, string edit distance, which if you're not familiar with, it's basically just the math distance from one string to another. So like if you have insomniac.tech versus insomniac.com, I think the distance would be like 3. So you set a tolerance, and if that string is within the distance, it matches. It's a nice way to do it. But everybody's probably familiar with regex. It monitors for MX records, like I said before. That's important to detect when an attack's likely to go live. It monitors for websites. By that, I basically mean it checks for port 80 and 443 to see if there's an HTML response for basically the domain itself, and then www.domain. And if it does, it can send you an alert saying, oh, hey, something went live. What else? I do virus total enrichment, which is kind of nice. And it sends emails and alerts to, it sends alerts via Slack and email. Why it's fast. So before we mentioned like the inserting into the database was super slow. There's actually a better approach to it. You download each zone file, you sort it, you can compare it against yesterday's. It's basically a merge sort. So you just diff it. So if there's something in the new file that there's not in the old file, you just add that to a list. It's much smaller. The insert in the database goes in minutes versus weeks. Slide. And now just to walk through sort of what you do. This is I'm not a front-end person, so it's a Django-based project. This is just the Django admin panel for configuring a search. I gave you the URL, so if you download this and you want to set it up yourself, but basically you put in the string, you set the type of search. For string edit distance, you have to have a tolerance, so that's configured. For something just like substring, there's no tolerance, but it's set up the same way. You configure an alert. Again, in the Django admin panel, it's pretty easy. It does Slack webhooks. It also does Slack, just an app if you configure that. And it can do emails. I think I set it up to configure with Gmail. I'd have to double check. But I mainly just use Slack. So it's a Slack webhook. You just send JSON to the webhook, and it's great. The way they actually run it, it has celery workers. So if you just want to put this on a server, let it run forever, that works. It's kind of expensive if you want to host it in Amazon. You have because you're going to move a lot of data. It's downloading, I don't know, hundreds of gigs a day, dozens of gigs a day, processing it, inserting it in a database. So it's kind of expensive. I just run on my laptop. A nice little script, just run daily. It's, again, a bunch of Python Django commands. So it updates whatever zones you have configured. It runs the searches, and then it runs the alerts. And here's an example of what one of the alerts looks like. This is a Slack alert. It's something that actually happened. I think, was that at the conference or on the way when this came through? So this domain was created on the 7th. I think this ran on the hotel Wi-Fi. So it's pretty lightweight. It's a domain that I'd be interested in. It seems like a match. Again, I don't know that it's actually malicious, but if I were doing a lot of business, I'd care about it. I get a little bit of enrichment. I see that it's Namecheap, which is often associated with attacks. I see that it doesn't have doesn't have a website yet, but it does have MX records, which means they might be mailing something out. It has a link to go see it via an API, which, because I'm not a front-end person, it's just JSON. That's super hard to see, but if you can you'll be able to download the slides. It's basically the same data, just in JSON. So it has the domain, the match, when it was created, and then it has the virus total enrichment, which is just the VT lookup for what the domain is, for what that domain is. You can also edit the matches. This is important in case something's a false positive, or you just want it ignored. Basically, just set the status. But what we care about, we can also set alerts for when things change. So don't just alert on when the domain's registered, but we can set alert for, hey, does it have a website? So basically, there's a poll or just scheduled. It goes out, checks to see if the website's there. If the status changes, it says, hey, the status has changed to the website now. It sends out a Slack alert. Same thing with MX records. There are a couple other things. A lot of this is still in development, this particular feature, but other things that we'll monitor for is like, can it detect an image that's being infringed upon? Does it have a specific image? Does it have content? Has that content changed on the website? But it's basically just a celery-based poller. And sort of the interesting part, because this is free, and you can just run it yourself, and it's not 10K per domain that you want to monitor, you can share this. So like basically you could set up, you can mark specific hits as public and then publish them via JSON, so that if you have clients that might want to ingest this into their own system to do blocking and say, hey, don't accept emails from these domains or don't accept links from these domains, you could basically use it as a block list. Future work. I would love to hear input. I guess the important thing is I'm not a front-end person. Like if anybody's interested in making this pretty, that would be super helpful for me. Beyond that, I want to make the Slack messages interactive. We do a lot of automation at my day job where you can just click buttons in Slack to say something's a true positive, false positive, or basically action it within our store. Watchman doesn't do that, but it's not too hard to do. The other thing I'm working on currently with this is ingesting from an inbox. Basically, you take the email addresses that you know from that we're sending things to your accounts payable, take those as true positives, and then build an automated list of like the simple matches that you might want to run for those. So their domain name is a substring, the string edit distance, and then you can create a list, and then you can run your own searches in your SIM or whatever to determine if maybe you guys are getting phished or there's a Beck account coming into you. A couple other things, take screenshots of it, that would be nice. That feature does exist, but it's kind of dangerous because you have to, it's basically just like a Chrome driver, so it opens Chrome, and this is potentially a malicious website, so I'm working to do that ephemerally in the cloud, but that's still to do. Other things, takedowns, that's not super hard to do, you just need a lawyer to sort of sign off on like a template paper. So it already integrates with VirusTotal, so I speak very quickly, apologize for that. So I have some extra slides. So one of the things that it can do, I also set up rules in VirusTotal. So if you have a VirusTotal account that lets you do live hunting, you can set rules to basically match what your domain string is that doesn't end in that root, and that will create an alert and hook up to the Watchman API to basically get that alert and publish that too. You also get newly observed domains for free. That's often a service you have to pay for, but because you're doing this diff, you create the new domains, like you get all of those. Watchman can also dump that list as CSV, dump it as JSON, or look up a specific domain as newly observed. I think that's mostly it. Anyone have questions? Oh, yeah, I can go back. Sure, the question is, I think in this slide, it says severity is low. I'm guessing you're asking where that came from. That's the VirusTotal enrichment, so that's VirusTotal threat severity. Yeah. Go ahead.
I might have missed this before. What was the daily volume for those zone files?
So the question is, what's the daily volume of the zone files? What do you mean by that?
Either size or number.
So the biggest is .com. It's about 200 million records just in the file. I don't have size on like what the diff is. All the other TLDs are pretty small, like .net's moderately sized, .org's moderately sized. There are also a lot of them, so you, when it's running via Celery Scheduler, you do have to be a little sensitive to ICANN's API limits for the 1,000 random mass TLDs that there are. So that's slightly problematic, but volume-wise, like this on my laptop from 2020, it runs an update process in a couple hours, and most of that's from downloading. ICANN's super slow.
Thank you.
Anything else? It could work with any other key value store. Sorry, the question is there a particular reason it works with Postgres? Could it use another database or something like Redis? It could use anything. Sorry, it could use any database. It probably couldn't use Redis because it has Django as the backend that's sort of core to the functionality. So you have to have like a proper database for that. But for doing the diffing part itself, yeah, you could use something else. But
Do you think any stats on who the worst registrars are, or the average age of a domain before it attacks you or anything like that?
No, I don't. So thank you. Repeating the question, do I have stats basically on who the worst registrars are, or how long the domains live? I don't have stats on that. One of the things you can do if you try to get access to the zone files via ICANN, a lot of the registers will, a lot of the shady registers will kick it back or ask extra questions or make you email them or just jump through some random hoops where they'll expire your registration or they'll set a really short expiration and make you like renew it every couple months. I don't know their names, but they're just the little terrible ones. But there's also not a lot of volume in there. Like, I've been running this kind of system for almost a year. And I've seen other systems like that, you know, the professional ones, the professional services. Most things come through .com. Galen? Yep.
I've spent more time than I wanted to admit in the last year
Dealing with,
I've spent a lot of time having to like chase a lot of stuff down
Yeah.
in the last year, so like, this is great. I'm just curious, would you be willing to publish your true positives as a paid?
yes, I would like, so the question is, he's saying he's had this pain. I suspect a lot of us have, and would I be willing to publish my true positives? Yes. My biggest hurdle right now is hosting it. Exonius might do it for me, but because of the data store, the database cost is probably about $600 a month plus a moderately sized EC2 instance because you have to have the memory to be able to diff the zone file, the COM. There are efficiencies that you could do if you just need to spin that up while that particular one's running. I haven't done that, but yeah, the goals do that. Yeah, and that's the idea. So it's set up to be configured for multiple clients. If I were better at business, I would do that, but I'm not. So it has an idea of who a client is, that has searches are particular to them, then has a specific field, like is this public? Alternatively, you could have, is this available to registered users? Conceptually, that exists. For me, this works right now. So hearing this feedback is useful for would other people want to see that? So yeah, all right. I haven't measured it. The question is, have I measured how this compares to other tools? I haven't measured it, but this is created from being pissed off at the other tools. They show up. We've used most of them. Former company that I worked for, they've bought all of them. They would switch them out as soon as they had a big failure or there's a big breach associated with them, or maybe they'd run a couple at a time to compare them against each other. Typically, we would see the emails coming in from from a partner, like a vendor, 2 or 3 days before we saw the alert in their system. And often that was with 3 weeks or so from when the registration date was. What I have seen in the data is that I see the domain published, it percolates within Watchman the day that it's created in the zone. So there should be no actual delay. I don't know why big vendors are doing it. I suspect because even though it's $10K a month, $10K a year for a domain seems expensive, it's not nobody's going to make a lot of money on this. There's hosting costs. It's not sexy. It's just drudgery. So yeah, I don't think they're paying much attention to it. Maybe they're doing the naive solution where they just have a big database and they try to insert everything and it just takes a few days. I'm not sure, but they're terrible. Most are terrible. I haven't found a good one.
I would say that your $10,000 per brand needs another zero behind it.
Oh, really? You pay that? So the comment is my 10K per brand needs another zero behind it. I've seen some online that offer that, but I guess it depends on how big your brand is and how many sub-brands. But ballpark of a domain name or a couple of them, they basically a set of searches, 4 or 5 is I think I've seen around 10K a year. Yeah.
We didn't pay less than
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, sorry. You. Sorry, the question is, have I thought about Dockerizing this or putting it in a container? I hate Docker. Yeah, I'd like to host it. The idea would be that it could be ephemeral and just sort of go up to EC2. I don't think I'd want to just do it in not Docker, but yeah. I mean, if you want to help with that, cool. I'd help make sure that it worked. I don't really have any to containerize it myself though. Was there another question over there? Nope.
One of your slides mentioned non-ICANN TLDs and passive. What are your plans there?
So the question is, I mentioned non-ICANN, some TLDs aren't provided via ICANN. So the country codes aren't, some of them, I don't know all the rules in those. So if they provide data, it would basically make a specific basically engine to go grab that data. Like I've been working on this a while. Like COM used to be different. They weren't a part of ICANN a few years ago. You had to go FTP and grab their files separately. So I've done that before. I don't know all the specific rules for them. Like I'd like to grab .io. That would be an important one that's currently not in ICANN. Passive DNS is awesome if you have a great data feed. Like Firesite's great. Like if you have like a big hose and you can just run through like newly observed domains, it's great. That is insanely expensive. But if you have it, it's cool. Like one of the things that was popular like a year ago with these attacks, everybody started registering whatever company on Microsoft. So that was painful and wouldn't be detected in this, but if you had a passive DNS feed, it would be. I tried getting access to some of the passive DNS feeds, but basically anything that's remotely affordable is not great. And the things that are great are insanely expensive. Farsight's the insanely great one. Any other questions? Cool, thank you.